Hello, everybody. Welcome to the PIPCAST 3000 that is not always on time, but here it is. I'm Caedo Genesis. This is a bi-weekly podcast. We talk about gaming news and gaming in general, and usually have a Bethesda-centric topic. I'm joined by my co-host, BADCompanySarge.
Hello there.
And as I said, this is a bi-weekly podcast, usually going up every other Sunday, but neither of us have been at 100% the last couple of months, I would say.
Nope.
Either and last time we tried to record, we had some internet issues, so it's been a lot of things not working out for recording. But fortunately, I think today is the day. 1 month after the last episode.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Let's hope that this episode goes smoothly. And our topic for this one is going to be Sarge.
Game stat images from Bethesda.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a good catchy name for this. Hopefully Caedo could put something interesting as a title, but
I will try.
Yeah, Bethesda released like a bunch of end of year stats and figures for Starfield, and we're going to discuss them. See what they imply.
And maybe add a rating to them, because that's what gets clicks.
Oh, yes. Ratings.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ranking and rating and all kinds of stuff that puts it in a list that's easy to digest.
We're going to tier list these images.
Yep, tier list. There we go. But I don't know if we're going to. Yeah, but before that point, we do have a comment of the cast and also the news stuff. Last episode, since it's been a while, to go over last episode, we talked about Bethesda continuously responding to negative reviews about Starfield, which it's not really good.
No.
That was the general gist if you missed the episode. And because some of them came across as patronizing.
Yep.
Like telling players how they should enjoy your game, and that's not usually how you're supposed to. I don't think you're supposed to come across when somebody has a critique of your game, and good critiques too. Like there were actual well thought out critiques, and the responses were
this wasn't biting back at the people being any of the words I'm not allowed to say on the Pipcast. This was just people being like, this game isn't very good, here's my problem with it, and then being like, why don't you just do this instead? People weren't bored when they went to space IRL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the quote that we don't know where the quote is from.
Yes.
about the astronauts going to the moon and not being bored.
Yep.
As an example of what players should feel when they play Starfield. And no. They're not really that closely related.
No.
But anyway, we grabbed a comment of the cast related to that episode, so I wanted to recap everybody. Sarge, would you please take the first one, then I'll take the response.
Yes. Cool username Marino says, Bethesda making this game as a blank canvas really came back to bite them. They need to understand the reason why people mod the hell out of Fallout New Vegas and Skyrim and even Fallout 4 is because they were good games at their core that people wanted to keep experiencing and refining. They didn't go into Skyrim thinking, the modders will carry this game for a decade. They went in to make a cool game, and they did, and the community did the rest because they enjoyed the game so much.
And there was also a response from Marco Chias? Marco Chias? I can't pronounce that name very well, I'm sorry. It's not even a good foundation for mods. The fact that there's a loading screen every 30 paces, for example, isn't something modders are going to be able to overcome. That and the fact that space is barely in the space exploration game is a problem as well. The space combat has about as much depth as some of the less interesting Mario Party minigames out there. That one's a bit more scathing.
Yeah. That
sure.
Final bit I don't agree with so much, but everything else in that I
Everything
do.
else, for sure. Yeah.
I think the space combat's fine. They do a nice thing with the power systems. That adds a little bit of depth to it, at least.
It's got the arcadey space combat feel, but beyond that, the exploration is a bit not really there.
You don't explore in space. You fast travel to planets.
And blow up ships.
Yeah.
Either enemies or your own.
Yeah. It is a little disappointing, but your spaceships are essentially fast travel machines and fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
We will be talking about Starfield very shortly.
We will.
Have a bit of an update on that.
For sure. But we have many other things to cover, and a lot of which are related to either Bethesda IP or former Bethesda staff members doing their own thing. So the first one is a Fallout 76 topic, Fallout 76 news story that we don't talk about 76 that much anymore.
No.
Because neither of us, I think you and I both, Sarge, have been kind of burnt out on 76 in general. What is this new thing that is planned for 2024?
Well, there's going to be a bunch of stuff, obviously, because they always do lots of stuff with 76. But the big new thing is we're getting a new expansion onto the map itself. The map, which has stayed basically the same-ish size and shape since the game launched, and they've just kind of packed more stuff into it or sent us to other maps elsewhere. They're tacking on a bit at the bottom of the map,
which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Actually get like a new region. The thing I'm potentially most excited about for this is I always remember the Scorchbeast Queen at the bottom of the map flying further down south, and then you just fail the mission. So hopefully this will stop that. I'd like to think the entire motive behind making a new region is just to stop that from happening.
Just to fix the Scorchbeast Queen?
Yeah. They figured they can't stop her running away, so they're just going to expand the map around her.
Yeah. Oh, so that's funny. The most elaborate, well-hidden workaround.
Yep.
Of 76. That'd be so funny if that was the main motivation. Yeah, I still don't know much about this. Like I've barely even looked over what it's all going to entail.
It's going to be Shenandoah. With the Shenandoah National Park and Vault 63 and a weird red light going into the sky or shooting down from the sky. Seems to be like some crazy red storm. Like the promotional art image thing for it is really cool.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it looks a little big mountainy, a little bit. But red instead of blue, because blue was the color palette for for Big Mountain. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe a mixture of Big Mountain and Dead Money, because Dead Money was red. Dude, this might convince me to pop back into 76, because like the whole thing, like we'll keep going back to this theme with Starfield too. The whole thing that keeps me invested in Bethesda games is the exploration aspect. If there's new stuff to explore, I'm probably going to be there. So, and this is exactly that. Like the expeditions, the areas that you travel to separately that feel like small bite-sized DLC areas that you can't stay in, were not really doing it for me.
No. You had a bit of an annoying thing where, because you were on such limited kind of time there, you couldn't go around and talk to people without feeling like, oh, I should be getting on with the mission. Yeah,
and especially if you're with a group that's done it like hundreds of times, like they're going to be impatient with you if you just stick around and you know, faff about with the NPCs and stuff like that. But some of us like the world building in 76. So yeah, this will let people, at the very least, explore at their own pace, good or bad. So that in itself is good enough for me for digesting it. So yeah, I am very interested and excited for what happens next.
I was already planning on coming back to Fallout 76 relatively soon, but more so just to be like, oh, let's see what it's like, let's just play a little bit of it. But much like you, I think when this new area is out, I'll give like proper dedicated time towards it.
Yep. And we could do the brand new beta buddies.
Oh, I mean, only if it comes out in beta form.
Oh man,
that's the way it works. That's why there were only ever 2 of those videos. Which I've got to check now. I swear they've like not hit 1,000 views or something like that. It's a disgrace because they are very fun videos. Oh god, yeah. It's 979 views and 439 views.
Yeah. I mean,
they're
that's
just fun videos.
That's how Caedo's highlights has been since it started, basically.
Yeah.
Except for the New Vegas one.
Mm.
Maybe New Vegas 2. There's like a couple New Vegas ones. Those ones did pretty freaking well, of course.
People love New Vegas.
People love New Vegas and the buggy glitchiness that happens in it. But sorry, I'm getting getting way off track. Yeah, stoked to see what happens with 76. Probably still salty about certain decisions about monetization in 76 and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll actually do content on it. But if I do, at the very least, there will be a highlights of some kind. Because if Sarge and I are playing together, which I hope we are, like that would be like the ideal moment to jump back in and do another Caedo's highlights.
Yeah. I'll probably make a bit of content, as long as like the content I'm focusing on isn't stuff that they're forcing you to pay for. Then I'm fine with covering that.
Yeah.
I just don't access the store really. That's
it
for me.
That's one thing we have coming this year. There's going to be a lot of things coming this year, including a Starfield planned patch in February.
Yes.
But I believe they are also planning on revealing what that patch involves much sooner, like this week.
Possibly, yes. I mean,
yeah.
On the 17th, so like a few days after this is out, they're doing their biggest update yet, which we can talk about in a second. And then we've got February when we're supposed to get like the proper content patches and stuff, I suppose, coming out. But yeah, we don't really know what's going to come with it too much yet.
Yeah. Besides the things they've already shared, right?
Yeah.
Because the city maps thing is still this is something I'm gonna grill them on, because unless they're doing something really elaborate with the city maps, which I doubt, they already should have been in the game. Like, there's very little reason for them to not be in the game for this long.
Yeah, it's not like there's a huge number of cities.
No, there's like 4.
Yeah.
Or unless you count like the smaller ones like a Garen Landing and stuff like that, which are really easy to navigate, by the way. Like, probably would not need maps. But like New Atlantis, as well as like the well, which I am wondering how they're gonna do that. Like if they're going to have like separate like bulletin board type of things, or if they're going to have like an actual like map in the map UI for the city itself. Which if it's in the menu itself, then I'll cut them a little bit of slack because that menu still feels like it's held together by Scotch tape. But again, like on the simple side of things, if they were doing the bulletin board type of thing where it's just like bulletin boards in different areas of the city just to tell where you're going, like a map index kind of thing, like that could have been in the game.
I'd like to see the map showing what different shops and stuff there are, because New Atlantis has like a lot of buildings.
It does,
and I don't know which ones I'm supposed to go to. Which ones are
the
actually
signage only
interesting.
the signage on the buildings only do so much.
Yeah. I mean, I use New Atlantis as the example because I think the signs for that are worse than the other cities as well.
They're not great.
Neon's super in your face, and Aquila
Yes.
City, because everything's kind of so kind of toned back and simplistic, you see the sign and it stands out a bit more.
Well, Neon has the advantage of being a strip as well. So you just walk down the street, and then you're where you need to be, and then like the two like key story and faction areas are on opposite ends of each other. So it's Neon is like one of the easiest places to navigate in the game. Except for Ebside. Ebside is not easy to navigate.
No.
So the main strip is fine. The outside, not so much.
Yeah.
New Atlantis, it's really funny that they have those kiosks with like, these are the businesses, but they just list them.
Yep.
It's so dumb.
Here's a list of places which exist.
These
day.
places exist in the city here. Good luck. Like, it's so funny. I don't know what they were thinking. Yeah, and Aquila City, right? Yeah, that's probably one of the more, I would say, confusing places to navigate, because a lot of the buildings just look the same. Like,
Yeah.
they have the running theme of Aquila City is Western town kind of thing and whatnot, and that part it does really well.
Yeah.
It feels like you're transported to another like era almost. So the feel is there, but the navigation is not.
Yeah. I think Aquila City does have decent signage, but it is the case of you have to walk to the building to find out what the building is still.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know where to go, there's a lot of wandering around before you spot the sign you're after.
Yeah, and one of the key things about especially like city districts and stuff like that, New Atlantis is separated enough in that sense where like it's different levels essentially that you are in different districts, so you can tell just by being there.
Yeah.
But in Aquila City, it's all on one plane. So you walk down one street and suddenly you're in what's it, the west side of town, where all the refugees are.
I know the place you're talking about. I
The
can't
Drag
think of the name
or
of
something
it.
like that. I think it's called the Drag.
I had to research it for an old video of mine, and I cannot remember.
But here's the thing: Map Genie already did that. They when they made their maps, they also had the districts in there too.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm hoping they actually do for Aquila City mainly, but for all of them, is having, you know, district labels as well. So like when people are talking about, the NPCs are talking about stuff and where something is, then you know because you have a map that says it. Because otherwise you got to guess or find one of the, you know, regular signposts that say it. And people don't always look at signposts.
Yeah.
Especially when they blend in with everything else.
So Caedo wants maps, but that's not something that's actually mentioned in the post.
No, because they've already mentioned it like months ago. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was my map rant for.
That's all right. Actually, no, it does say you're able to access city maps while exploring.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it is in there. Sorry. But they've got other stuff they're saying as well, because we're targeting updates roughly every 6 weeks starting in February, so they want me to do pretty regular things. They want to expand shipbuilding. They want to add in new gameplay options for things like changing the difficulty in weird ways.
Mm-hmm.
The examples they list are customized carry capacity, cargo access distance, ship damage, vendor credits, how you suffer afflictions, new survival mechanics, and more. So the final bit just sounds like a survival mode, but the other stuff is like... Is that just... I'm not entirely sure what they're doing with that.
I think... I wonder if this is more of a workaround for like all of the different critiques that they... Or a lot of the like main different critiques that they had when the game launched. Which one is like mainly like inventory and also ship access to like the cargo bay and stuff like that. Like some of it obviously is not explicitly stated in the game, which is why people like me who made tips and tricks like had to explain it to players, which I should not have had to. By the way, because I like the extra stuff, the extra cool stuff that you can find out, not something that should be a given, especially when it comes to managing inventory and how freaking messy it is in the game. So I think this is again the workaround that they decided to put in. So like if you have a problem with, you know, how far you have to access your ship or how much inventory space you have, you can modify that, you know, without console commands and stuff like that. Giving that access to people who are playing on consoles, not just PC. So I think that's kind of a smart move. And also survival mode. I'm totally down with survival mode in, like, after proving themselves pretty good in Fallout 4.
Yep.
They can do fun things with it. So I'm hoping that this, like, customizable difficulty, like, maybe they have presets or something like that. Because I still do like playing intended difficulties if I know that they have the potential to be good.
Yep.
And like Fallout 4 survival mode, that was that. Like, you switch it to survival mode, that's it. You are in survival mode. There's no going back.
Yep.
And there were some complaints about the sleeping to save kind of thing. Like, people didn't like the hardcore saving, which definitely makes sense, especially when you don't have the time commitment. Because you have to play so much more slowly in survival mode.
It was one of those things where I loved the extra risk factor of it, but it practically just was so unhelpful.
Oh yeah. But it did make you pay attention to other things in the game too, like where, like, mattresses you could, like, hop to or leapfrog to, getting to, like, the city proper and stuff like that, or like water sources that were clean. It was all pretty cool. I'm interested. I am interested in that, and dude, more shipbuilding stuff. Like,
Actually, as a combination of the two, I'd say that sleep to save mode in a Starfield wouldn't be as punishing, because you've got your spaceship.
Yep. Where
you just have a bed, and that goes around with you, which is pretty simple.
It'd be really funny if they didn't bother doing any changes to the Starborn ship, so there's still no bed.
Oh god. New Game Plus becomes a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Wait, does that mean you could potentially go into New Game Plus, not be able to save, die in some stupid way, and then go back to before New Game Plus?
That'd be so funny. I'm pretty sure it auto saves.
Yeah,
like they do have an auto save point, I think. That'd be so funny though.
That would be hilarious. You die so badly you lose the Unity.
That'd be great. It wouldn't be great, but it would be funny in the moment, I think. But yeah, more ship customization would be good, and if the Starborn Guardians are included in that, all the better. Like, they are very bland in the interior, and give you more reason not to use them because of that. Which people should be using the Starborn Guardians because that's one of the New Game Plus things that you can get. That is, hey, check it out, and it's got like unique dialogue and stuff like that too, from know, planet checkpoints and whatnot. Like, you should be utilizing it, but it's not really up to par, especially when you can get the Razor Leaf for very little effort.
Yep.
Yeah.
But on top of all those changes, they're also adding in proper mod support with the creation kit, which is to be expected.
Yep.
And all of creations and all stuff like that. And apparently they're hard at work on Shattered Space, which is going to be the first major expansion.
Yeah, I was honestly expecting that a little bit sooner. But do they have like a date for Shattered Space, or is it just expect it? Okay.
It's next year. And this was in 2023, so sometime this year.
This year.
It'll probably be within the next 300 days.
So, Q4 is what you're saying.
I'm saying within the next 300. It could be tomorrow. That'd be really weird if they launched it before the planned update.
If it got shadow dropped, I think that would be the most risky business they could do right now. They can't hi-fi rush it. It doesn't.
No.
They can't hi-fi rush it out. That's probably a bad thing. Oh, can I do a thing really quick that I forgot to do?
Maybe.
Because I'm apparently out of practice. Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose.
Oh, yep. Woo!
Thank you for your support. Woo! We are almost a half hour in. I am so sorry. Thank you for your support, and the rest of you patrons. Thank you so much. I do this towards the beginning because I forget, like I just did, towards the end. So, sorry. We can keep going with the thing.
One thing that Bethesda is doing right now is the January 17th update, and they've actually put in some screenshots and notes of what it's going to be. First off, the update goes on the Steam beta, and then apparently in a couple of weeks everyone else gets it. So,
yes,
that's
I want
the way
them
it
to
goes.
continue. Yes, I want them to continue doing this because that is the best feedback time before releasing something and then it imploding. Because we got some legacy bugs that are still getting ironed out in the game. Like, you know, the meteorites that follow you around when you're in your ship?
Yeah.
Yep. Dragons did that in Skyrim.
I mean, on top of that, they've tried patching that already in Starfield, and they even put in the tweet thread thing here, and another fix for asteroids following ships. Because, they've already patched that out, and it didn't work. But
it's one that just doesn't go away as easy as they think it does.
Yep. Some of the stuff they've listed as working on are like a bunch of fixes to quests. Big one being temples not showing up into the unknown.
That's
which,
pretty big.
Prevents the main story from happening.
Mm-hmm.
They've got fixes and improvements for graphical stuff, such as including sun disk geometry, planet ring shadows, and like some bulldozed objects reappearing, which isn't exciting. But planet ring shadows and sun disk geometry is weird.
Yep, that's weirdly specific, but also probably for that awe factor kind of thing for seeing celestial bodies and stuff like that. I get it. The bulldozed objects thing is also a legacy bug.
Oh, okay.
Like, they fixed that in 76.
Yeah.
Because, like, things don't crop up underneath your buildings anymore, do they? At least,
I mean, I've not played in a while, so...
Last time I played 76, it didn't do that. It actually, like, refreshed when you put your outpost down. Like, it would, like, check for like trees and other objects in the way. But they also let you place your own trees, which was, you know, a cool change as well. Hoping that fix actually works, because if you build over the top of a big rock formation, you just won't be able to access whatever you put there. So that's a pretty good one, pretty important one.
One thing I want to bring attention to, and something that I've seen a lot of people online talking about, is they have a before and after to show the improved textures, lighting, and shadows. And it's of the character creator. And I'd guess the image on the left is the before and the one on the right is the after. Okay, are you looking at these two images, Caedo?
It looks like they added a couple more light sources or brightened up the top one and like put one on the right, just so you can see the whole face.
It basically looks like they've just shone a light on the person's face in the second one.
Yeah, pretty much.
The hair looks a bit different as well. I think the hair does look better, but it also looks like it's a lighter shade, and I'm like, is that just the lighting? Or have they actually changed... No, they say hair color 11, hair color 11. Apparently that's the same hair color. Like, the hair looks, I guess, better. The beard as well as lots of individual lines, but Bethesda beards don't typically look good. They're very bad.
They're slowly improving.
Yeah, they do, like,
many games.
Barely any stubble well, and they do big beard well, and everything in between is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So it still looks bad, but I guess it's a better version of bad than that. And otherwise it does just look like the guy's got a light shone in his face.
Yeah.
They're quite proud of these changes. Like, they did the before and after, and it seems really minimal.
Yeah. I mean, people do probably spend more time than I do, and I don't know how long you spend in character creation, Sarge, but I people really do like also like recreating faces in the character creator, like celebrities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wait,
I don't,
and
the thing is, I don't see this as better. I just see this as different.
this, I mean, the lighting on the right side, it does help. I can tell that would help more for like seeing the full symmetry of the face, at the very least. Otherwise, I don't know. It does seem like a minimal change, but having more light is always better when you're trying to sculpt a face. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But that is all it looks like. Maybe it's just something to give to fans that, you know, want to see an update kind of thing, where it's not really a huge thing that they did, but it is something that they did do.
No. I wonder if they could have got like a much better image to go with as well. Because the character creator is a weird place to show off improved graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if they did a before and after with, like... They've even got an image above of looking at Sarah Morgan. If you just got, like, the same basic image of her, like, locked in dialogue or something, and show the difference then, I think that would be a better example. This might just be a slightly weird example of showing the character creator for all of these improved textures and lightings and whatnot. Maybe that's more the issue than actually how it looks.
Yeah. Possibly. Yeah. I guess you make more characters than I do too, by far. So
yeah,
well, we shall see. Especially when these updates start dropping, how it feels differently, and I'm looking forward to your feedback on that for sure. Because you're the character guy.
I am the character guy. I make characters.
Yep. And you make stories about them.
Yeah.
And it's so cool.
Yeah, thanks.
After stroking Sarge's EO, something else. I should have timed these differently. There's another 76 story. Nate Purkeypile, who was responsible for 76's map initially, which is one of the best launch aspects of 76. He did move on from Bethesda, and there has been a no-clip documentary of his, like, what his experience has been like, and also what he's moved on to doing, which is a solo project, a open world hunting game, very like fantasy mythological oriented hunting. Like, it's not your father's hunting game. It's called The Axis Unseen, that he's making, get this, using the Unreal Engine.
Okay.
Former Bethesda dev using the Unreal Engine.
This is a bigger deal than my reaction is. But why is it such a big deal?
It's because if you look through, watch this no-clip documentary, it's 20 minutes long. It's not a long documentary, as I know, like, people automatically assume that documentaries have to be like an hour or something like that. But this one's short, but it does give a lot of extra context into, like, what he worked on over the 10 years that he worked at Bethesda, but also how easy it was to shift from the creation engine to Unreal, and he does have commentary on that as well. And I think personally that is important to point out, because it's doable, and the only question in my mind is how moddable is the Unreal Engine, and I would want to guess that it is quite a bit more easily moddable than other proprietary engines that companies use. But I don't know. I'm not a developer, obviously. Just something I found very interesting that was drawn attention, that had attention drawn to it, I guess. So anyway, cool no-clip documentary. Also, he was very proud that the map, which was basically his baby in Fallout 76 was one of the very few things at launch that people liked a lot.
Yeah.
So that was one of his moments of pride, was like, yes, I made a cool map, kind of thing. So this Life After 76, we have all the stuff linked below, obviously. This one I recommend to check out, even though it was quite a bit ago still. December 22nd, not bad.
Yeah.
But if you want, you're sitting down to eat something, want something to watch, I would recommend checking that out if you want to know about the behind the scenes kind of stuff, and learn about the Axis Unseen, which looks like a very interesting open world game that is being developed by one person.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was neat. Something else that's neat? I don't know, is this neat?
Maybe. Valve adds privacy features to Steam, letting users hide purchase games.
Mm-hmm.
This is a PG PIPCAST. I don't think I can talk about this. Please, Caedo, take over.
It's really funny that... Oh my goodness. Okay, so when you... How this is working, I think, is it's showing in the image that somebody bought Baldur's Gate 3, and you can set it for your account or for your account private when you make a purchase of a game. And we know Steam has a myriad of mature/adult games as well. I have a feeling that this feature is more directed towards that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a cool thing, like if you have a guilty pleasure game that's not necessarily just an adult game, but also, like, I have Never Ending Salt for Cyberpunk 2077. Do I want to be judged by my own psyche and my friends at the same time when I play it? Probably not. So I could make that game private and just have it, me existing in my own head while I'm playing Cyberpunk, as opposed to having other people that I know watch me playing Cyberpunk and then sassing me about it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just an example, because I do have guilty pleasure games that I go back to, and just want to enjoy them myself, or by myself, without any external influence about it, and stuff like that. Like, if I had friends that were more adamant about how much they don't like Death Stranding, I'd probably have that on my privately viewed game thing as well, because that's a divisive game.
For your hours of walking in a straight line up a hill.
Yeah. Yes. Gosh dang it. Yep. Because it's a walking simulator. That's all that you do. Clearly, the whole time is just walk around. I watched a 5-minute clip.
It's just walking in the game. Oh, and you drink like some energy drink, right?
Yes.
So you can do more walking. Monster
energy drink, until the director's cut came out, which they don't have the brand deal anymore. So it's just Bridges Energy now.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, we're making jokes, and the game is more than that. So I don't know. I just thought this extra feature. I thought you linked this one. Did you link this story?
Well,
one of us did.
See one, no.
I didn't remember. Okay, yeah.
I did not link these ones.
Interesting feature for Steam to add to stuff. And I guess we could just move on to the next thing. I have no segue for Oklahoma 13-year-old believed to be first person to ever beat Tetris.
Yeah. He got a score of 999,999.
Yep.
Which, that's a good damage number.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to my old Final Fantasy days, like, that's the number you're always after.
Or Star Ocean, because Star Ocean doesn't have they don't do like damage caps until like the millions or something like that. It's stupid. Yeah. It's absurd. Anyway, we're talking about Tetris. And according to this article from The Guardian, previously only bots and AI had got game to its kill screen, but Willis Gibson managed to get the game to freeze with a score of 999,999, which is crazy. And the clip, the kid is exclaiming that he's about to pass out when he finishes it. That the clip on its own is pretty wholesome, and seeing this dude's excitement after he gets to the kill screen, after a lot of time of trial and error and trying to get to that point, freaking incredible, I gotta say. Just one of the wholesome things to add. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy as well. It says he plays for roughly 38 minutes, which, thinking of like Tetris as a game that takes less than an hour to beat, is kind of crazy in my mind.
Yeah. You know how destroyed your hands and thumbs would be if you played Tetris? I mean,
well, yeah, it's
he's probably got some callus built up at that point. Like, you know, like a guitarist would have, except from playing Tetris nonstop for so long, because Tetris gets freaking intense. You know, 10-15 minutes in, imagine twice that amount of time. Like, it's absurdly fast. But he was using the I think it's called like rolling, where you like can give yourself more button presses by rolling the back of the controller. Like that method is spreading throughout gaming pretty rapidly.
I've heard of that. He's also playing on a CRT.
Yep.
Which is a thing that I swear a while ago was big and well known, but yeah, CRTs have better. I can't think of the exact term. They're better for gaming technically than a lot of. Wow, I've forgotten all the terms. Well, there's the helpful information. Good luck, everyone. That's all you needed.
Better for gaming. That's a quote.
It's I genuinely, it's I know what it is, but I don't know the words. This is bugging me. It's because you get to see it quicker. Yep. I'm very helpful.
Just thought it was a good thing to cover, because it's a cool thing to watch people break records on old games. And speaking of old games, some of which we, you know, as Bethesda fanboys should have played pretty aggressively, is Daggerfall.
Yeah, Daggerfall is a Bethesda game.
It is a Bethesda game. It's a very old Bethesda game, but I found out recently that Daggerfall Unity 1.0 has released, which is obviously a complete overhaul of Daggerfall in Unity.
Yeah.
And it's apparently totally playable, and as long as you have, I believe, the Steam version of Daggerfall, you can then install you can install for free the Daggerfall Unity 1.0, which will pull assets from the original Daggerfall and then make it playable in Unity, for all kinds of extra features that you can have that you would otherwise need with mods. It's all kind of one package. This is a community project, so you know, the liberties that are taken, you know, are something that I kind of expect with a project like this.
If you're playing this, it isn't the same as playing classic Daggerfall.
Correct.
They've changed a fair few things,
but they also show a lot of the key features. Classic Daggerfall Plus. It has cross-platform without emulation, which is, you know, cool technical jargon stuff. Retro graphics that are boosted by a modern engine and lighting. High-resolution widescreen with classic style. Optional play in retro mode. 320 by 200 or 640 by 400 with VGA palettes. We're talking about CRT and stuff like that. Like these are
Yeah.
also like extremely reduced resolutions that we can play on now.
My current resolution is pretty much 10 times that,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep, it's absurd. Huge draw distances even without mods. That's always cool. Smooth first-person controls, quality of life enhancements. Yeah, see that when they say that, my questions immediately go to like, okay, what do they consider quality of life?
Yeah. It does bug me how sometimes quality of life people will be like, no, this is objectively better, when it's like, no, this is something that you personally prefer, and it doesn't
Yes.
mean it's better. It's just, if it works for you, then great, do it. But don't just be like, yep, this is how it should be. Why aren't they doing this all the time? It's like, no.
Yep.
A lot of the stuff is subjective.
Yep. This is why this is why it's worth mentioning. Like, yes, liberties are taken. Some people think quality of life is the quality of life, but they also, everybody's got their own kind of perspective on that too. Extensive mod support with an active creator community, which is good. And translation support via community mods, which is also cool, which means that they are, openly working with, other mod creators too, and stuff like that, just to make sure that those work. So it can be played in different regions too, which is freaking awesome. And the screenshots that they're showing off are pretty dang good looking. Surprisingly so with some of them. If I were to play Daggerfall, this would probably be the way that I would.
Wait, does that mean you're not going to be playing it?
I probably will. But okay, I should say when I play Daggerfall. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next
when
week,
I
when
play
you play
Daggerfall,
Daggerfall.
next week, when I play Daggerfall for like 150 hours straight, I'll be using Daggerfall Unity 1.0.
Perfect. And Caedo will be streaming that. Make sure you subscribe and comment every day asking when the stream's going to be.
Yes. All of that was mostly untrue. What?
I'm disappointed.
That's okay. I'm disappointed in me too.
Good.
So I also know that it's worth mentioning that if Unity triggers some salt in your mind, yes, I am very much aware, and I think it worth mentioning that the Unity issues that happened last year with their what was it called, extra cost based on installs thing.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty aggressively rolled back as far as I know, because there was a lot of backlash from developers and gamers in general. And also I believe the Unity CEO stepped down to have somebody else take over. I believe that's something that happened last year too. So I wanted to mention that, just so I'm not glossing over the fact that Daggerfall Unity is made in Unity without that extra baggage on top of it and not mentioning it. So yes, I'm hoping that the Unity stuff kind of levels out also for developers and stuff. But this project in particular is also, as far as I know, a free project, so or free to download and whatever project. So because it's using an existing game. This is just a massive passion project with from a bunch of Elder Scrolls fans. So now that that's out of the way, fans of Indiana Jones might find something interesting in the developer direct that's happening in
Thursday,
like 3 days from when this, or 4 days from when this gets published.
Thursday, January 18th at 12 p.m. PT, 3 p.m. ET, and 8 p.m. UK time.
This developer direct is going to show some Xbox properties that are being developed and worked on, including Machine Games, which is under Bethesda, new take on a Indiana Jones game. I remember Todd Howard saying that this is one of the things that he really just wanted to work on as an IP.
Yep.
So yeah, Machine Games, known for the newer era Wolfenstein games, mostly good except for Youngblood. Excited to see what the game actually is, because we've only gotten a teaser of like panning over a table just to tell us what it is. Of like, you know, oh, there's a table with a book and a whip and some artifacts and stuff like that, and like that's pretty much it. But now we're going to see hopefully some more Indiana Jones awesomeness. Also, yes,
I was going to say the thing I'm excited for is Avowed, which I'm guessing you were about to move on to as well.
yes, go ahead,
Yeah,
you can take this one.
We're going to see some Avowed, which is the game I'm looking forward to this year, really. Like, I have fairly high hopes for Avowed. I'm not setting it like crazy high, but yeah, Obsidian's going to be sharing some actual stuff. It's going to be the first deep dive into the gameplay experience, which I'm looking forward to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, actually seeing more of Avowed than the one trailer I think we've got so far will be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, most of these things are in my wheelhouse kind of. We still don't know what Indiana Jones is going to be for. I'm gonna guess third person action, but like
maybe
it could be anything. But Avowed, we know it's first person RPG. Ara History Untold, we know it's kind of in the 4X genre, at least from the description of it, which is totally my jam. Yeah, and Hellblade 2, obviously something that I'm super stoked for, because the first one was so incredible.
This developer direct does seem very directed towards you individually.
This is my developer direct.
Like, for me, I'm super interested in Avowed, and the other three I'm like, meh, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, it's like, all of these seem to hold your interest, which is pretty good.
Yeah, but the problem with being a fan of 4X games, or enjoying 4X games, and particularly playing Civilization 6,
is that you're a loser. Yeah.
That, and also, they're not short games.
No.
You have enough time to be invested like you would be in an MMO.
Yep.
Like, you can commit to one, but if you commit to more than one, you're gonna burn out or have no time for anything else. Maybe a little of both. So I am interested in this game, but also I have, you know, gotten more than enough of my fun playtime out of, you know, Civ 6. I'm still playing Civilizations that I haven't yet. Like, because the games are so freaking long, I haven't played every Civilization or every leader because it's a multi-day campaign of, and me and my partner like taking breaks in between and stuff like that because it's a long freaking game.
Yep.
So but of course, yes, Avowed really looks awesome. I want to see what the systems look like. That's what I want. That's what I'm hoping to see here. I'm hoping that they took some of what they did in the Outer Worlds with their, you remember like the skill tier system for like getting into or getting like different bonuses and stuff like that?
Maybe.
Do you remember that? Like the more you build into a skill, the more bonuses get for
I'm with you now.
Like attribute branching, skill branching bonuses. I think that was one of the strong suits of the Outer Worlds, and I'm hoping that the perk system, whatever that happens to be, is more creative.
Yeah, the perks really let down Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
They were very, very boring perks.
Mm-hmm.
And the actual cool bonuses did come from the skills, which was a bit annoying when perks are the things which are more obviously like, oh, here's how I build my character, and skills were not hidden, but kind of have to actually pay attention and look at them to then go, okay, here's how it works and helps out. Like, yeah. Hopefully the leveling will be better in Avowed.
Yep. And also, whatever the phobias system turns into, like, I don't want them to get rid of that. I want them that to be like something.
Okay.
where you decide to take a negative whenever it pops up on screen, and then you get a free like perk point or something like that. Like I'm hoping that expands into something else too, because the phobia system was pretty cool in that too. Like you can get a fear of heights if you jump off of a high place and take damage. If you take a specific element of damage, you become you gain a phobia of that damage type, which you can take more damage from it. If you choose to take the phobia, you can take more damage from it and also get a perk point. That kind of thing is what I'm talking about. I think it was cool.
Yeah,
and
it was interesting.
Would like to see what creativity comes from that.
I want to see if the guns go bang.
Me too.
So they got guns in this fantasy game, and I want to watch them go bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, some of the footage we saw was also dual-wielding pistols. So,
like, on a slightly more serious note, the whole equipment is something I'm interested in, because Obsidian actually does unique still.
Oh my god, you said
we
the
love.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see some actual like proper uniques. That'd be neat.
Which we will reliably get from Obsidian, like, because they know. They've
not fallen into the Bethesda trap of let's RNG everything with the weapons.
Please no. Yeah. Don't generate all the loot, please.
Yeah. This isn't a Diablo.
Nope. This isn't World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, look forward to the developer direct. It's this week, I guess.
Yeah. Real soon.
Yeah. Something else that people, I guess, should look forward to. I hope. Man,
maybe.
I don't even like the segue I did.
Yeah.
CD Projekt narrative director declares Cyberpunk 2077 just a warm-up as work kicks off on the sequel. Okay.
This is a weird one.
Shall we unpack this?
Yeah.
I think he deleted the tweet.
That doesn't surprise me.
So I think we only have it on
the PC Gamer site.
On the PC Gamer site, yeah. Let me see if I can actually find it. Oh no.
No,
nope.
I can see it here.
I had to click on the timestamp instead. So Igor Sarzinski says, first day in the Boston office. So good to meet old friends and officially kickstart our Orion journey. I couldn't be more excited for this project, and I'm sure we can make it something special. 2077 was just a warm-up. Fire emoji. The vibe of CD Projekt Red has always concerned me since the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Because this definitely kind of sidesteps the whole issue that started when Cyberpunk launched. That I won't let go of, obviously. But there's no denying that the quote redemption arc, I guess, kind of happened with the 2.0 patch, and also Phantom Liberty got received incredibly well. I will not deny that, and despite not playing it, I definitely, I don't feel like I heard much of anything bad about Phantom Liberty. Like, it was all like, no. Oh my god, and the twists and turns and like all the options and stuff like that, like all of it kind of and maybe some aspects of it feeding into the main game and stuff like that. I feel bad now for like just saying wind at this point. But the problem that kind of circles back, I guess, is it took up to 2.0 and maybe a little bit of like edge runners to bring people back.
It's like Cyberpunk has pretty much just got to the point where it's regarded as, yes, this is a very good game, this is what it should have been at launch, this is a great game now, play it.
Yeah.
But it took like 3 years to get to that point. And now we're just being like, whoa, it's time for a sequel.
Yep.
This game's
And
so good. And,
the thing that of course PC Gamer and probably a lot of other news sites are latching on to is Igor saying 2077 was just a warm-up, and a lot of us remembering that was not a warm-up, it was a dumpster fire.
Yeah. There's a brilliant quote. I'll read it here. After all, to quote some of my colleagues at PC Gamer, if Cyberpunk 2077 can be described as a warm-up, it's the kind where you accidentally obliterate your own shin bone and have to spend 3 years in recovery.
Yeah. 3 years.
Yep.
3 years of not delivering what you promised. I'm all for being optimistic about a new project. However, there really should be some awareness too of like we're maybe some attempted reassurance or something like that.
Yeah.
We're gonna take our time, or we're gonna do better, like something along those lines, because the hubris is dripping from anything that these guys say.
Yeah.
And I will not stop beating that drum until we get a launch from CD Projekt Red that is actually decent with very little issue, or they crash and burn again, and then I say I told you so. Why haven't they learned yet? It's going to be one of those two things. And especially since Project Orion, which is Cyberpunk 2077 sequel, is one of like 4 IPs that CD Projekt started and announced like last year or something like that.
Yeah, I swear they just keep talking about stuff they're going to be doing.
Yeah, and like they should stop. They should stop doing that.
I am wondering, like, how many people have they got working on each project at a time?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, we've set one person per project, and then we're just going to switch teams around depending on which one we're talking about.
And if you're just shoveling money into the fireplace to, like, tell investors what you're doing, fine, just tell investors that. Like, but, like, the more you give, people waiting for these projects, and in my mind I see it as ammunition at this point, because like they'll have something to point back to, be like, hey, remember when you said this?
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen, because that's a huge issue with the Cyberpunk game that first launched. Like they have so many things to point to. So much, in fact, that Crawbcat, I believe, that is something that my partner brings up a lot, and it's really good. Crawbcat did a video on Cyberpunk's launch, and I believe this is the one that had no commentary from the uploader whatsoever. All it did was show promotional content versus reality. And it is so scathing, just showing what they promised versus what we got, that I'll put this in the description just in case you want a reminder how much of a dumpster fire that Cyberpunk. I know it was a while ago, I know it was 3 years ago, how much of a dumpster fire CD Projekt Red created with the Cyberpunk 2077 launch. Sorry, that was a side rant, and it's a really good video, and I want to add it to the thing. But aside from my personal salt, that is very clear, I seriously hope that they learned.
Yeah.
Because we have at least 3 or 4 examples of really, really, really bad launches, and the overpromising and the delivering hardly any of what was shown in some aspects. So I'm just hoping that there's a little bit of wisdom gained from the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 up until the 2.0 and then Phantom Liberty, where like it's actually at the state where they're like, oh, this is what the game was supposed to be. because it should not take three extra years to get to that point. And players should not be taken for a ride like that. You pay, $70+ for a game. You should get a $70+ game. Sorry, rant over. I could keep going, but I've probably lost some listeners just because I keep going. So now for the cooldown period.
Yes.
Let's go to our topic. Sarge, what's our topic again?
Starfield stats and stuff.
Yay! I love stats and stuff.
Alliteration that time. Yeah.
I like it.
So, at the kind of end of year Starfield update, Bethesda also released some little infographics showing some stats and stuff about the game, such as 13 million players, which is like our proper player count number sort of thing we get. Because I know I've seen a lot of people still using like Steam charts and then parroting it as this is how many people are playing the game. But it's a lot more than just Steam these days.
It's not a very good accurate representation, especially when Game Pass is a thing and a lot of people are playing on Game Pass.
Yeah. Game Pass is the best way to play Starfield, honestly.
Oh yes. Yes. Unless you save a lot and then you hit the save limit.
There's a save limit?
There is, because Xbox.
Wait, is that specifically on Xbox? Or is it also on PC Game Pass?
Nope, I hit it on PC Game Pass, which is why I transferred my saves over to Steam.
Huh. I didn't hit the limit, and I play with a lot of characters.
I am glad you didn't hit the limit. It might have been saves with the same character. It might have been that.
Okay.
But even so, like, having a save limit on PC is still stupid. If there's a save limit, it should just be on the Xbox side. I don't think there should be, honestly, but it should, if there is one, it should not apply the same rules on PC and just have the most recent ones exported to Xbox if that's, the cross-platform issue cropping up. Sorry, I didn't word that good at all. Let's go over some infographics, Sarge.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna put these on screen too.
Cool. There have been, let me get this right, 22,284,331 days of Starfield played, with 40 hours being the average playtime per player.
That's pretty average, I would say, for a Bethesda game.
I mean, the 40 hours average, the thing is, I know there's a lot of people who have put hundreds of hours in, and a lot of people who have put like a few hours in and then given up. So it feels, I don't know, I guess those two even each other out, and for most people they'll do like a playthrough and be done. Because I feel like 40 hours is like a decent sort of playthrough. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check how long to beat.
That's the storyline and maybe like one faction.
Okay. How long to beat has the main story at 22 hours, main plus all sides at 70.5. So yeah, that does feel like you do the main story and then maybe a faction or two and a little bit of side stuff.
And it better be the Crimson Fleet because it's the best.
Yeah,
faction missions.
Crimson Fleet's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say all of the factions are actually worth doing once.
Yes.
But
the Crimson Fleet, in my mind, the best.
Yeah.
If you commit to the Crimson Fleet, because SysDef is still underbaked.
Yeah.
And disappointing.
A bit disappointing. Although the other United Colonies quest one is quite fun, because you get to do the whole aliens and stuff, which is good.
Yeah, the UC Vanguard.
That's it, the Vanguard.
Yeah.
That's a good one as well.
That's the tutorial faction quest. Like it doesn't explicitly state it, but because like Sarah Morgan introduces you to Tuala, and then he's just like, hey, join the Vanguard. That's that's the game trying to tell you that it wants to teach you more about the world, but I don't know about anybody else. I did them last.
Yeah, the game tells you to join them, but you're busy with another quest at the time.
Yes.
I'd say the Rangers are the one where it forces you to do it and then sticks you on the quest line. And then you have to go back and switch back to the main quest.
I guess that is true. Yeah, because you have to
Rangers,
stop
they're like, hey, you're doing a Ranger side quest now.
Yeah, you can just walk by the bank heist going on, but it's
but
very
not if you're
obvious that
doing
they want you to stop.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you're doing the main Constellation story, you have to complete that mission.
Oh, wait, because you do have to talk to the Rangers, too.
It's mandatory to do it, to go into a bank to retrieve a piece of paper telling you that the map isn't there.
Right.
I've tried to avoid it. You can't. You have to do the first Ranger mission.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I forgot about that part. That shows how much I've played lately.
I've not played Starfield in a while either.
Yeah.
But the people who have been playing... wait. Okay, there's been 22 million days played. There's been 26 million hours spent building ships.
Yeah.
Which, that's a lot of time spent shipbuilding compared to, like, the amount of days played.
Yes.
I feel like that's quite a big ratio. And really kind of shows that the people who are playing the game a lot are doing so much shipbuilding. I feel like we'll get onto that later with one of the stats as well. I suppose we could do it right now. The most popular master level skills. Are you happy for me to go into that one?
Yes.
I wasn't confident.
Where is that? Where?
It's on the Discord.
Oh. Yes, thank you.
Not everything was in one infographic,
yes,
unfortunately.
Sir. Yes, sirree. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Bethesda put out these infographics, but there's like one with most of it, and then two things missing.
Yeah.
So we're having to stitch them together a little. They talk about 30 million players, and the most popular master level skills are special projects, planetary habitation, and ship command, which is very much the case of, okay, the people reaching the master level skills and using them are messing around with outposts and spending time on their ship. Which, yeah, I do feel like the people playing a lot of the game are those who are cool with outpost building, cool with shipbuilding. Those are the things which keep people around more than anything else in the game.
Yeah.
Because the actual quests and stuff, like we pointed out, I mean, I'll go back to the How Long to Beat has a completionist thing of the game as 146 hours, and that is doing everything.
Yeah.
That'd be like every single quest, pretty much, you can do within 150 hours. But then there's people playing way longer than that, and it's all just shipbuilding and outpost building. I'd imagine more shipbuilding than outpost building, because shipbuilding's a bit more accessible and fun. But
I mean, that's both our opinion is pretty much the same on that aspect, but I'm both concerned and kind of accepting that people are okay with how goofy outpost building is right now.
Yeah. I've had responses when I've complained about outpost building from people being like, oh, the game's not going to hold your hand, is the kind of mentality that we get there. Where it's people being like, it's supposed to be clunky and bad. That's what makes it good. It does feel like the people who... Not only I can see people enjoying outpost building despite its flaws.
Yes.
But the people who are like, no, it is good, worry me.
Yeah. Like, there is nothing wrong. And I'm like, play any other game where you build an outpost.
Yeah. Hell, play any Bethesda game with outpost or settlement building or anything like that.
Yeah, dude, the camp system in 76.
Yeah.
That's been honed, and it works pretty freaking well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was gonna say like any city builder and stuff like that, like what they're trying to emulate versus like the myriad of examples that are done better without holding your hand. Because the systems can explain themselves to you without you having to look up a video. That's part of
I
the
think that's
issue.
the thing as well. Hand-holding is needed when you've made something complicated or you don't think the player's going to understand it. You don't need hand-holding if you've made your system intelligently and it's easy to understand and comprehend for a first-time player.
Yeah, and you can use the shipbuilding, which is in the same game, as the example. Shipbuilding, it's a bit obtuse when you first start doing it, but then once you start piecing things together, then you start picking it up pretty quickly. From personal experience, this is just me talking about it, versus learning Outposts, I had to look up information that was incomplete or non-existent on the Outpost building just to make sure I was doing something correctly. And that is a problem with the game, not a problem with the hand-holding issue or whatever.
Yeah, when I've mentioned Outpost building as well, and people have tried to help me out and give advice and stuff, that it's always been oh, watch this video where a person builds an entire outpost on this very specific part of this very specific planet to get the resources you need to build outposts. Just do exactly what they do, and then you can start building outposts.
Yeah.
And it's if you have to do some super specific stuff to get started,
Yeah, and unfortunately, the most efficient way to do that still is going to a mineral store and just buying all the minerals and then going to build an outpost.
Mining is basically pointless.
There's some weird progression issue going on when you have to go to a place that just sells stuff to make an outpost. It should not be that shouldn't be the go-to.
No.
There's still some jacked up stuff about the game I'm shooting myself in the foot by saying you shouldn't have to look up videos to learn some systems, but for some god-awful reason, making the Outpost guide versus making the Settlements guide from Starfield to Fallout 4 was so much easier to make a guide on. So much easier. I just want to throw that out there really quick. It took me probably, I want to say half the amount of time for the Fallout 4 Settlements guide as it did with the Outpost guide for Starfield.
I mean, Fallout 4 had a good base junk system.
Yes.
They had that good system to work with, and while Settlements were a bit more complexity added onto that, the basic concept of, okay, here's how you get junk, here's special junk and stuff, that was pretty solidly done, so you had a good foundation to then work off. Whereas in Starfield, it's a bit there are resources everywhere. We use them in a bunch of stuff. You just kind of have to find them as they are. Just buy them.
Yeah.
Because every other method of getting them is terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at right now, which is why I've done a single Outpost guide, because I'm still anticipating some sort of fundamental change to Outpost building, where some of the information, even in my beginner's guide, might be, changed in future update.
I think I skipped Outpost building entirely in my beginner's guide, because I think the point I made was, if you're a beginner to this game, do not do Outpost building.
Yeah.
It was as simple as that.
Yep. That's good advice.
Yep. Despite that, we do also get the stat that there are over 4.5 million outpost settlers in the game.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming is just people assigned to outposts.
Which is obviously players.
Well, outpost settlers isn't players, it's surely the NPCs that you assign. Oh,
sorry. Yeah, wow. Oh my god.
Yeah, the 13 million players would be the amount of players who have played the game.
Okay, so I wonder if that could still be measured.
Well, my theory here is that you're probably going to assign a couple of people to an outpost when you build it, and that's just for your average person. So, and then obviously some people won't build outposts at all, but then people who build a lot of outposts will probably assign a fair few crew to them, surely? So, I'd guess that there's maybe 1 million, probably less than 1 million, proper outposts out there in the game. which means like less than 10% of people are building outposts, would be my guess.
Okay.
Going off some rough numbers there. Because
Yeah.
think about it, you get like in the Constellation missions, you get Hela and Lynn, who it kind of implies you should send to outposts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You get told about outposts. So I figure most people will send like a couple of people there, and those players who are really invested in outpost building will probably send a lot of people to their outposts.
Hey, what if these numbers are jacked up because some of us caught on to the settler skills not being the same as player skills?
Possibly.
And just kept assigning and reassigning just to see if they worked.
I do wonder if that's in. I will say as well, Outpost Settlers is not the most helpful of stats to be given.
Yeah. I'm
feel
sorry,
like
I confused that
number of
with
outposts-
players. Like,
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I feel like a number of outposts constructed would be a more interesting stat,
that would be, yeah.
rather than you've made an outpost and assigned people to it,
Mm-hmm.
which is what this one feels like it is. One which is kind of interesting is planets visited, which we have not covered the exact number.
Yep.
It is 1,972,345,902 planets visited.
Yes.
At this point now, that's probably over 2 billion planets. Seeing as this was the end of the year update, and I'm sure people have continued exploring.
Oh yeah, probably. But this, does this include moons?
Yeah, it's going to. It's going to include all of them.
Because they just said planets.
It's basically how many new places have our players fast traveled to.
Yeah. And out of the what was the more rounded number, like 16, it was like 1600 like places you could land,
Oh
or
god, it's
different
a ridiculous number.
like planets and moons you could land on or go to.
Google.
Or no, I think it included like
There's-
ice and gas giants and
yeah.
asteroids.
Okay,
and
there
stuff
are
like that.
1,437 planets/moons you can land on. The rest up to 1,692. There we go. So it's 1,000, just under 1,700.
Yeah, it says visited, so I'm gonna guess it's whatever you
Yeah.
can survey.
Yeah, that's going to count just flying over to it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which essentially means that, on average, a player will go to 100 different planets, moons, gas giants, and so ons.
Yeah,
Which is so much fast traveling.
it really is.
That is crazy.
Yep.
Think about it, 13 million players, 1.9 billion planets visited. It doesn't take a maths genius to see that that's an average of over 100.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are people bumping up those numbers a fair bit, some of the people who have gone to like all 1,000 planets. But boy, Bethesda really do want us jumping around the place in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that number is big numbers. Obviously, more impressive. Maybe they just wanted to include that.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't talk about like the quality of the places
no.
they're landing on, or like what they discover and stuff like that. Like,
Oh,
it's
time
just
spent,
a number.
like average time spent on each planet would be a great number to have.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because you'd quickly see that
Yes,
some planets
that'd be a
are
fun
like
graph. Just
nothing.
like all of the main city planets will be like the highest, and
Yeah.
then everything else will be like a sheer drop off.
Yep.
Except for like the minuscule like unique location ones that have like dungeons with puzzles in them.
Yeah. It's basically going to be, did a quest send you to this planet?
Yeah, pretty much.
And that'll bump it up.
Yeah.
Most people who just go to a planet and are like, oh, I'm going to survey it or anything, like, I'd imagine the average time spent on each planet is under an hour.
Yeah. Or some of the XP farming planets.
Yeah.
Like those would probably be probably higher too.
Yeah. You'd probably have some really weird random spikes in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Do you want to hit the most picked trait so we can like go back to the main?
Oh, yeah. So the
thing.
most picked trait in Starfield is hero worshipped.
Yes. And did anybody expect differently?
It makes sense. Like, I don't think it's that great of a trait, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Me neither.
It's the Oblivion nostalgia.
It's the meme.
And I imagine, yeah, even if people weren't aware of that meme, a trait which says hero worshipped is going to be appealing.
Yes.
Like, if you're just going into the game completely blind and it's like, hey, do you want to be worshipped as a hero? I feel like a lot of people are just going to say yes regardless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, yeah, same actor, almost exact same character.
Yeah.
In fact, this could be the link from the Elder Scrolls to the Starfield universe. This one man. Yeah, and he was a big chunk of the promotion for Starfield as well. So
Yep.
that in itself has a way of influencing people's decisions. Whereas, like, you and I both know that the wanted trait is...
Oh yeah, wanted is the best one.
Is the best trait in the game.
Yeah. You get XP flying towards you, loot flying towards you, and a damage boost when at low health.
Yeah. Yep. And a potential ship flying towards you, too.
Yeah. And a bunch of extra dialogue.
Yep.
It's one of the traits that gives, like, a lot of dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if it's... Funny that we talk about that one, because the most dangerous faction that has been killed 12,276,466 times.
Killed us.
Oh, deaths to the Ecliptic. Yeah. That could be affected by... Oh, right. Yeah, that could be affected by the wanted trait as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to guess a pretty solid chunk of those deaths are in space.
Yeah.
Because...
I mean, space battles tend to either be, wow, this is really easy, my shield's barely getting damaged, or, oops, I just died instantly.
Yep. And then continuously die until you
yep.
either grav jump away or figure out some cheese method.
Yeah. Like, space combat has only 2 difficulties, I swear, and I don't fully understand why there never seems to be a middle ground. Like, it's so difficult to have a space combat fight in Starfield, which feels challenging, but which you can succeed in.
Yeah. Yeah. The balance seems off in that sense.
Yeah.
Where it makes you like, through the gameplay, which is one of my critiques of the game, is through the gameplay it makes you choose certain skills, almost forces you to choose certain skills, including like a lot of the ones in tech for like ship systems and stuff like that.
Yep.
Boost packs, lockpicking, what's the other one? Stealth. Freaking that one's gonna irritate me to no end. Like no stealth indicator until you get 1 rank of stealth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd mind any of that stuff so much if it wasn't for the fact that the main quest puts you in like this jack of all trades sort of situation where you need to be invested in all these different things.
Yeah.
Like, I support there not being a stealth meter about getting the perk, providing that stealth isn't a mandatory part of the game, which it technically isn't, but the game doesn't let you know that it isn't. It heavily implies it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
and
annoying.
especially with the Ryujin Industries stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like it's the Thieves Guild of Starfield. So
yep.
Like, yeah. They really want you to get stealth. And I don't know if it's been improved at all, but like the stealth indicator is still kind of jacked up in how it displays if you're being detected or not.
I mean, I know they've done improvements to it. I don't know how much better it's actually got, though.
Yeah. What happened? I really want to know what happened with the stealth indicator and why it's so much worse in Starfield than it has been in the 2 previous games.
I do want to cycle back to the number of deaths from the Ecliptic.
Yes.
Because a little over 12 million and 13 million players, that means, on average, people are dying just less than once to the Ecliptic.
Yeah.
Like, those numbers are very, very close. And I imagine a lot of the players probably didn't stick around long enough to deal with the Ecliptic that much. which means for the most dangerous faction, they're not actually getting a crazy number of kills.
Yeah.
Like, most players will die to the Ecliptic. That's kind of how it goes. But I'm guessing a lot of players just won't encounter them, won't die against them, and there's got to be some players who are dying several times to them, like in a death loop sort of thing.
Yeah, but the funny part is, like, if these are the most dangerous faction, that means spacers are nothing.
Yeah, because spacers should theoretically be the worst.
Spacers are everywhere,
constantly.
and the Crimson Fleet, that one probably sheer dropped off because you joined them.
Yeah, that's going to be a big impact on it.
So, like who's left? The Ecliptic.
Yeah.
So, this is more of just another fun number thing that isn't, like, once you look at the math, especially because they show the amount of players and the amount of deaths, like, less than one death from these guys per playthrough. Like, it's
per player.
Per player.
Not even per playthrough. That's the thing. Some people will be going on several playthroughs.
Yeah. And not being much of an ordeal. And again, I think a lot of this is space battles with the Ecliptic, not on the ground fighting them. That's my headcanon of it, though.
Yeah. On the ground fighting deaths definitely come from the Ashta, though, which have been marked as the most dangerous life form, with 447 deaths even. Sorry. I can't let them lose out on those 3 extra kills they got.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
the amount of time they put you on Aquila, and also, doing Sam Coe's main story stuff.
Yeah, I guess this is a case of there's just several instances where you will encounter Ashta, but I've barely taken damage from the Ashta. Like, they are not dangerous enemies. Like,
I got killed by an Ashta when I started building an outpost in the Skyview camera mode, and didn't realize it was killing me because nothing tells you that.
That could happen, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like most of these deaths have to be oops, I didn't realize my health was low and I was in combat, or instances like the one you said where you're not able to do anything. Like, I feel like Ashta aren't particularly scary or devastating enemies, so this stat surprises me.
Yeah, it's weird too, because the people in Aquila City, like, really build them up to be like an issue. And I never felt like that level of being overwhelmed by them. And one of the things that should have happened is, like, a full-on Ashta raid. Like, that should have happened if they wanted to, imply the difficulty that they're dealing with the Ashta. Not just small groups of them. Not just those...
I swear they always show up in, like, 3s or 4s.
Yeah. Or like one alpha. Like, what the alpha would have a pack with it. Like,
yeah, the alpha was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I fought it once, and I was just like, bang, 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 bang. Oh, it's dead.
Yeah. The head of security like built it up so much. And he was like, I've been doing this 50,000 years, and the Ashta, they're getting more aggressive or whatever, and like, you go with them freaking gumshoe mode, discover, more powerful Ashta, and by the time you get there, I've never had a scenario where it took more than a couple of shots to kill it.
Yeah, they're not particularly challenging.
And unlike Sarge, I still don't put points in combat except for explosives.
Yep.
Because the guns are really powerful in Starfield.
Yeah.
So I had almost no damage bonuses when taking it out as well. It was all gun power and maybe some modifications to the guns, but like they are so strong.
I mean, speaking of guns, the most trusted weapon is the Combatech Beowulf, with 595,023,360 kills. And this surprises me a little bit, because it is a very good gun. It's a powerful rifle. I'm not surprised that a rifle's in the top spot, but this is a bit more of a later game one. So I suppose it just helps to show that later game you're going to be getting more kills and fighting more enemies than you are early game.
Yeah.
Because I'd imagine everyone's using like a Maelstrom or something when they first start out, so that's going to pump up the numbers on that one a bit. But obviously that's not an amazing weapon and doesn't scale well.
It falls off pretty quick. The Grendel and the Beowulf, like not the Beowulf, the Grendel and
Maelstrom.
The Maelstrom, yes.
Yeah. Whereas the Beowulf is one which you won't see early game.
Yeah. And the hard target would be a high ranking one if it freaking showed up. I've looted it maybe twice.
Yeah.
And I think I want to say the second one was at like wasn't even loot. It was like the vendor in the Crimson Fleet, I think.
Yeah.
Like I think they sell a hard target, a quote unique one.
Yeah. I mean, I do wonder as well how much like random legendary drops and whatever have affected this.
Yeah.
Because surely most people just get a good legendary drop and stick with it.
And it could be random loot in general too. Like,
yeah.
People just stick to the Combat Tech Beowulf because they see a battle rifle and they're just like, okay, this seems, because it very much looks like, you know, a Halo style battle rifle too.
Yeah.
But if it's got that form factor that you're already comfortable with, like, yeah, of course, of course you're gonna go to that. And then, like some of the laser weapons, I think those are very like specific on like what they're most effective against, I think. And then the high tier, which requires level like 60 plus or something like that. That's when you start getting the mag weapons.
Yeah. I mean, well, mag weapons do show up before that, but very rarely.
Yeah. A couple of which are unique, like actual unique and awesome, and we need more, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, most trusted weapon, Combat Tech Beowulf just makes sense.
Yeah. It's a solid kind of middle ground.
Now that we've brained our way through what weapons show up and stuff like that.
I will say the favourite mill makes sense as well, because the Battle Mill multipack, of which 18,395,892 have been consumed, it provides a bonus carry weight.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Which I think is the entire reason it's been consumed. Also, it's like 1.3 is that? 1.3, 1.4 consumed per player.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is not that many.
Yeah.
It really shows that food is not being used much in the game.
Yeah, and it could be like just for the sake of clearing out your inventory, you just eat a whole bunch of food items.
Yeah.
Like this is the wheels of cheese of of this game.
I feel like this probably indicates that this is one of a few food items which actually gets picked up and used.
Yeah.
Like, most of them are just completely ignored. Because who wants, like, 2 extra health?
Yeah, and this also might be vastly increased now because of the eat on the spot command as well, where you hold down the button and you just eat it or consume the item. Which does work with meds too, by the way. Or aid items, which I found out, I think last time I played, which was quite a few weeks ago now. I found that really awesome because, it applied to, like, you find amp, like, sitting around somewhere. Like, amp is awesome. Like, it makes you run around really fast and, be Sonic the Hedgehog for a couple minutes. Hey, how about the Starborn players?
Yeah.
Number. This is
low.
Less than 10%.
Yeah, 1,631,993.
Yeah. This for anybody who doesn't know, by the way, this is the New Game Plus players.
Yeah.
Pretty low number.
That is basically like, it's technically a little over 10% of players have made it to New Game Plus.
Oh yeah, 1.6. Yeah.
Which is not that many. Like, when you consider almost 9 out of 10 people are not going to beat the story of Starfield. That's kind of crazy.
But, I guess compared to other Bethesda games like Skyrim in particular, like the ongoing meme is like, I still haven't beaten Skyrim.
Yeah, although, Steam does the thing with achievements. It tells you how many people have got the achievement.
Oh.
I'm going to see if I can find the one... Oh, it's going to be complete a certain quest, isn't it? I want to see if I can find the one which is, hey, you beat that. Okay, Alduin's Wall only has 17.3% of people beating it, to be fair. Which is quite far down there. I'm trying to find the actual one, and I don't know which one it is. Geez, only 47.8% of people in... This is Skyrim Special Edition as well. Slightly under half the people playing have absorbed a dragon soul.
And that's ignoring the first or the second main quest, I think.
That's... You've got the
third
Dragon Stone from Bleak Fool's Barrow. You've gone and beat the first dragon of the game. That's all you need to do to get the Dragon Soul.
Yeah.
Which is, crazy low. Like, a lot of these percentages, I think it's clear in this case that a lot of people just haven't done it. Yeah, Unbound has only been completed by 69 nice % of players. So, okay.
Yeah.
This is clearly a lot of people have just bought this game and then not played it.
Yeah. And I have a feeling this will increase over time, especially if, like, some of the newer content is, like, made or improved if you're Starborn. Which the game does imply that being a Starborn does have different kind of outcomes and things that happen.
Yeah. I think a big problem is there's not the incentive to kind of do the New Game Plus thing.
Correct. Yeah. Some people still do it. So the current incentive that we have, which is Starborn suits, you can only have one at a time up to 10, and the Starborn guardianship, and the leveling up your Starborn powers further. Like, those are the three things. And
there are also the variant universes.
And the variant universe. Sorry, yes.
But that one is RNG based, rather than you will get something from it.
You gotta sit through the Unity cutscene every single time.
Which is very pretty.
It's very pretty.
I give it props there. It's a very, very pretty cutscene. But
however,
after you've watched it a few times...
Yeah, the theme here is repetition, 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 and some people just don't feel like doing the grind like that. Which is
grinding
okay.
without purpose.
Yes.
Like, you've already completed the content.
You are
and then
a
the
god.
game's like, hey, you want to become a stronger god?
Yeah.
You're still going to one-shot everything.
Yeah.
But the damage numbers will be higher.
Yes. Or you'll be able to 0G enemies for a little bit longer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Relating to all that as well, the crossings of the Unity, which is essentially going through the New Game Plus thing, is 5,178,133, which is a little under 5 times the number of Starborn players.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, it's about 4 times that.
So if people are committing to Starborn, they're really committing for at least a couple New Game Pluses.
Yeah. I mean, on average, people are going through like most people are going through it a few times, I guess. But then I know plenty of people, the ones who are like hardcore into the game, who will be on like New Game Plus 20 or something ridiculous. Which is a lot of times to go through.
And like it doesn't take too like if you know what you're doing, like it doesn't take too terribly long to smash through all of it, because if you're like skip the story, it gives you all of the objectives.
Yep.
And then you hit the end of the game. Like it's
yeah.
You
can do a New Game Plus playthrough in a few hours, I'd say.
Yeah.
You just collect the stuff, go to the end, bang, 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 you're done.
Yep. Yeah. Just gotta make sure you have gear to do it, or some weird exploit. Because you start fresh every single time, except your Starborn suit and ship.
If Unarmed was better, that'd be brilliant.
Because
you could start out, and then you wouldn't need to get a weapon. You'd already have your spacesuit, and then you could just punch stuff. And man, they missed the mark with so many things on Starfield.
They really did. Yep.
And it feels like all of them aren't, like, huge misses. They're just like, why didn't you change this thing a little bit? And,
Yeah. The last one, the most used power out of the, like, 25 or 30-something odd powers.
Buttload of
it's
powers.
A buttload of powers. Sense star stuff.
Yeah.
That is the detector power, where you can see enemies through walls, or see living things through walls.
Yep.
That's just Aura Whisper from Skyrim.
Yep. I know why this is the most used.
Yeah. What's your take? We'll see if it's the same.
It's because you have to use it several times over and over again to get it to refresh. And if you're playing like a stealthy kind of character, you spam it a whole bunch. Whereas most of the other powers are like combat finishers, or you only really need to use them once and then it works out, or you use them in very specific circumstances. Whereas this one needs to be spammed like crazy.
True. And what location comes to mind when you think of spamming sense star stuff?
An enemy outpost?
Oh, I wasn't going to say outpost.
No, you clearly have something in mind.
I was going to say C-class ships.
Oh, okay, yeah,
when
is
you board
useful
them.
there.
Yeah. Because
yeah,
in order to...
you see, there's not a huge number of enemies there, so I don't instantly think of it. You definitely do use it a bit in there, but I feel like you only need to use it a few times in a ship, tops.
If you know where you're going.
Yeah. But for like some of the bigger Crimson Fleet outposts and stuff, if you're playing stealth build, you just use it constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my Ronin character used that, and I must have done it like 20, 30 times per, like, random location I went to. Which probably means I used it like 1,000 times in total. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's the most spammable of the powers.
Yeah, pretty much. So this one, like, not really surprising, is kind of what we were driving at. Is you have to use it a lot. It should be a toggle, probably. Or a toggle that like slowly drains your energy.
Mm-hmm. That'd be so much better.
Not something with a timer that you constantly have to re-up, because that's
such a short timer as well.
That's a huge pain.
Yeah, and it's clearly designed for like more stealth kind of builds a lot of the time, because you need to know where people are to avoid them and stuff.
Yeah. Also, doesn't it make noise
useful.
When you cast it? I can't...
I'm not sure. I've not been detected while casting it. I know that, but maybe it makes like a small amount of noise.
Yeah.
Because I've also noticed enemies don't pay too much attention to noise in the game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like, I've cut people apart with the sword, and no one, like, in the other side of a room has bothered to react.
Yeah.
Unless you're open blasting or throwing grenades everywhere, they don't seem to care.
Yeah.
It's only when they actually visually spot you that they get alerted.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny. Yeah, that's the... Man. We didn't really do a rating thing because, you know, we just had things to say about most of them. But
yep.
How useful versus fun? What's your take on this whole infographic thing, Sarge?
I'd say more fun than useful. Like, I think this does paint a picture of like how most people are playing. It's not a great picture, honestly. Because especially with like the Starborn players and the crossing of the Unity and all of that, it does kind of imply people are one and done with the game for the most part.
Yeah.
But the people who are super invested seem to be the ship builders and the outpost builders.
For sure.
And
yeah.
I think that's what this whole infographic shows.
And new game plusers, too.
Yeah, but even then, not a huge amount.
Oh, wait, no. Yeah. Sorry.
Think about it, like 5 million crossings of Unity, 26 million hours of ship building.
My brain was like, new game plusers are kind of keeping it alive currently because there's not much content.
No.
Or not much new content. Maybe that's where my brain was going, sorry.
If anything, I'd say these numbers kind of show that a lot of players get bored of crossing the Unity.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise that number would be a lot higher.
Because it wipes progress.
The number of Starborn players.
It wipes everything besides your build. And
there's a huge negative to
it. Yep. Some people like their ships that they currently have.
Yeah.
That they spend a lot of time building in the ship builder.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, I hope they work out a way for the game to stop fighting its own systems. I do. I really do. Like blueprinting or something along those lines, because that de-incentivizes right now, like wiping the outposts and ships and stuff like that.
The game needs like just a lot of work, flat out.
Yep.
And hell, in a few years we'll be able to see a tweet from one of the leads on it talking about the sequel they're working on. Now that everyone loves the game. But for the next couple of years, it's probably going to be in a bad space.
Oh man. And I saw recently on I think it was Outside Xbox, or Outside Xbox, stuff like that.
Xbox, true.
They had a list of games they wish they enjoyed or games they wanted to enjoy.
Yep. I watched it yesterday.
Yep, and Jane was like, Starfield. And I'm like, oh my god, Jane.
Yeah. She made some real good points about it.
Yeah.
Like, a really interesting stuff as well about how space feels less glamorous with, like, the billionaires and stuff going up there, and it feels like space travel has been somewhat tarnished to how it was in the past. Mm-hmm. Like, we have a lot of space news these days, but it's like, oh yeah, that's just stuff we're used to.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously, like, even, let's say 50 years ago, people would have been absolutely going crazy over any big space news, because we'd only just got up there, basically.
Yep.
But now it's a bit like, oh, the rich people are going there. Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah, we're commodifying space. I hate it.
Yep. I'm gonna avoid us from the depression of this by using that as a topic, though, because I stopped watching that video because Ellen was like, oh, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I was like, no, I can't watch this yet, because on the very same day, I was recording my footage for Assassin's Creed Valhalla in 2024, because I'm doing a whole Games in 2024 series.
You are, Sarge. Oh, man, good segue.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm back to making content, and this month it is just Games in 2024, basically. I was hoping to have more of these videos out, but I've been ill, so, like, I could do nothing for the first week of the year, which is not a great start. But so far, I've got Middle-earth: Shadow of War in 2024 and Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning in 2024, both out. And it's just kind of looking at these games, having a bit of fun with them. The Shadow of War one has a lot of dirty jokes in. I had, like, one, like, adult joke in there because one of the main systems of the game is the domination system, and I was like, okay, gotta go for the easy joke there.
I remember that, like, you were very, very cheeky, and
yes,
I was like, I haven't heard this Sarge before, but
no,
it's also kind of funny.
There kept being more opportunities for jokes, and the video doesn't even include all of them. I ended up cutting some because I was like, "There's got to be a limit here. Let's not get age restricted."
That's funny.
But right before we started recording, I also uploaded my Kingdoms of Amalur video, which I'm quite happy with as well. Not quite as many dirty jokes in that one, a bit more normal and stuff. But I'm enjoying making these little videos, and they're not doing great on the channel, but what I'm wanting to do is kind of push my channel in a, hey, this is an RPG place, rather than just a, hey, Bethesda content, because the Bethesda content hasn't succeeded for me. So I'm just being like, I'm going a bit broader with it, sticking to RPGs, having some fun that way. Hopefully, I can build a bit more of a broad audience. Yeah.
And since you're, getting all this footage already, one suggestion I have is once you hit like 10 of the, which I'm kind of guessing like you're gonna hit at least 10 for games in 2024,
games in
right?
Oh yeah, I made like 9 thumbnails originally, and I've already had to make more. So yeah. There'll be more than 10 of these.
Then once you hit 10, you can actually turn that into a list to like point right back at what you've covered already.
That is sensible.
Just an idea. To not fully recycling content, but doing kind of a roundup of like what you kind of covered already.
I mean, I am planning on doing some lists and stuff in the future. I figure they'll get like some people in, and I can make them fun enough.
I'm trying to think of like the mindset of making them less gross than they are too.
Yeah.
Like just I'm talking about lists in general for those listening, not Sarge's videos. Sarge's videos are great. Because like that's my struggle with doing list videos is they feel, I know they do well because they're formulaic, but because they feel formulaic, I think they feel gross to me. So I have to do something differently to make them not feel that gross, which will in turn get me more traction on my channel. But I have yet to find that balance and that want to do stuff like that, because that it's such a hard balance to like not just go full watch mojo and be like, oh, here's the 10 strongest upper body strength of Bethesda games. Like
I will say that one thing I'm sort of looking forward to, I'm supposing, is doing lists which aren't just for one game. Like, if I can spread it out across multiple games, that instantly makes it a bit more interesting, because I get to compare games to each other rather than being like, here's the top 10 strongest pistols in Fallout 4. And I checked the wiki article, and these are just the ones with the highest damage number, and this video is going to do ridiculously well, even though it would take like 1 minute in the wiki to find this same information.
But it's us that make it, more interesting. We just gotta figure out different methods to push that a bit more, I guess.
I also played a bunch of games with 2, like the sequel games. I played Borderlands 2
I see that.
and Vermintide 2, because I ended up watching your old highlights from the streams that me, you, Eddie, and Jared did of playing those games. I ended up watching those and just having a bit of fun and being like, oh, that was fun.
That was fun.
I ended up jumping into both of them and just like playing around a bit, which was good. Vermintide's really not as good on your own.
No, it's
you need other people for it.
It's better with a team. It's very similar to like Deep Rock or Monster Hunter or something like that. Like, so it's very clearly designed for co-op play.
And Borderlands 2, while it is, I'd say, overall worse on like a solo playthrough, there is like the narrative and stuff, and it's got a story, and it is more of an RPG, so it's still quite a bit of fun. I also played Remnant 2.
Oh my god!
Remnant from the Ashes, or Remnant, what's it actually called? Is it just called Remnant 2?
Just called Remnant 2.
Yeah, just called Remnant 2. I've played a bit of that. It's difficult.
Yes, it is.
I've been playing it solo, and the enemies are strong.
Yes, they are.
Like, real strong.
It is a Souls-like with guns. One that I can surprisingly tolerate.
Oh, that's good.
And tell me if you pick it up again, by the way, because I will play it with you.
I mean, I might do, because I want to get like a bunch of Patreon wallpapers for it. I've only got like 2.
Yeah, there's some beautiful vistas in that game.
Yeah. I mean, the bigger problem is trying to like get the camera so it just gets the scene.
Yeah.
Rather than, because it's a third-person camera.
Yeah.
And there's not like a photo mode or anything. So you have to do the old trick of like walking up to a wall and wedging your camera in a certain
spot.
Then
spinning it. Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes it just completely ruins the shot. So I've only got like 2 wallpapers saved so far.
Yeah. Did you get to the dual class part, or did you just? Have you only been using one class so far?
I barely made it anywhere.
Okay, cool.
Does it tell me how long I've played for? If I scroll on to this, it will tell me how long I've played for. I played it for an hour and a half.
Okay, yeah, you're barely in there.
I kept shooting things, and then there were more things, and then I had to retreat because I'd lost all my healing items.
Yeah.
And that was a loop.
Yep.
for like 20 minutes, and then I was like, I don't think I'm going to progress anywhere.
Yeah, so also, like, the random... One of Remnant's, like, strengths as a design in a game is your dungeons are kind of... Or your dungeon zones, I guess, are randomized when you start a run. So the start of your run could be different from the start of your friend's run. However, with a game design of that type, you could end up with a much harder boss than you're ready to fight. And I ended up getting the, like, sewer boss that is sticking to the ceiling and stuff like that with the challenger class, which is melee focused.
Yep.
So my first round was rough.
Yeah.
So I totally understand running into a wall in that game, because, like, the design itself, like, does allow for that to happen, but you also have the choice of restarting your run and keeping your progress, your character progress, and then just starting in a new zone. So that's something I actually had to do a couple of times, and even reduce the difficulty just to get some more gear to be able to, like, do some of the content of the game. It's very, very interesting, gameplay wise. Sorry, I kind of just took that over.
No, that's all right. That's all I have to say on what I've been up to.
Nice.
So, what else have you been doing?
Oh boy. Okay. If this were a couple of weeks ago when we initially planned to record the PIPCAST, I would have mentioned that the previous guide that I did on the Constellation Guides guide I did for that collection of magazines in Starfield went out, and it's doing about as well as I assumed it would, until I finish all of the magazines guides. These are not going to do very high numbers because it's very specific, and not many people really want to get them right now, I bet.
No, I've noticed across the board, Starfield videos aren't doing great. Well.
Across the board, right? Because, like, there's the incentive for even collectibles is not very high, especially when how they work is confusing. I have a whole intro section now in these guides to explain how magazines work, and I shouldn't. But how the stat boosting ones, like the Constellations guides, work is the bonuses you get are based on how many you've picked up, not which ones, even though they have different covers on them. So, and Sarge also helped me discover that, or helped me confirm that if you New Game Plus and collect the same magazine each New Game Plus, you can get the full set of bonuses from just that magazine by New Game Plus 5. So that's also dumb, which means you only have to use a portion of my guides if you're New Game Plussing. So that in itself is really wonky and silly, and again, I don't expect it to do incredibly well until I have all of these guides and then I combine them all into one compilation. But even so, one of the magazine locations are at a random civilian outpost, or random settler outpost, and it's covered up by objects in the game. Like, you literally cannot access it without console commands. So that's an issue that I'm probably going to save that magazine guide for last to see if they actually patch it, or see if they actually just ignore it, kind of like they have previously with collectibles. So, like, that's something that's on my mind, but my mind has not been in Starfield, partially because my health still sucks. I'm trying to distract myself with things that I enjoy rather than things that are work, because I don't know if my follow-up surgery really did anything yet. I'm going to have my checkup in like 10 days to see, like, did this take, or am I going to have to do something else that's going to cost me quite a bit of money? And I'm so exhausted by my health just sucking all the time. But today in particular, the nausea was not, distracting. Like, it's still there, but it's like that low level of, I don't know how otherwise to describe it. It's low level nausea.
Yeah.
Where I can happily drink and eat stuff, and sometimes it helps, sometimes it just lingers. So that's what I've been dealing with. And also the things I've been playing to distract my happy little brain. I started a Valheim server, an official Caedo Genesis Valheim server. You are welcome to join it if you hop into my Discord server and opt in for the Valheim chats and all the info's there. That's something I've been doing. I've been really enjoying going back and doing my, different building challenges to myself. This time it's been a river-based boathouse type of thing where it's like a giant bridge structure with a house inside of it, and a boat, and the long ship can fit underneath it in the river, and it's really freaking cool, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Nice.
And this is only supposed to be my first home in the Valheim server. And I'm expanding it rapidly, which is a problem that I have with building stuff, is I can't stop. But also, I took a 2-day, like I was feeling particularly not good, so I took a 2-day just away from my computer and Discord and stuff like that, and I played through Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5. And my god, Insomniac does game good. I don't know how to describe what I enjoyed about Spider-Man 2. Like, everything aside from my minor gripes about the camera, third person action camera, getting stuck on something and then getting cornered by a brute enemy. Aside from that, the presentation, the story, the acting, the satisfying combat, especially with the Venom powers, oh my god. The twists in the story, there's so, and the new tech they keep flexing and they don't have to. The portal thing that they introduced in a Rift Apart with their launch title, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart with the PlayStation 5. They're just like, now that we have SSD technology, we can instantly load zones and make a portal that seamlessly switches. And I'm just like, oh my god, that is them flexing the new tech yet again. And they put that, of course, because they showed it off in Rift Apart, they had to put it in Spider-Man 2 as well. So there's sections of the game where you are going through fever dream segments, and also I guess this is not what's it called, Mysterio portals are set up in that way where Miles can walk through a Mysterio portal and be transported into Mysterio's illusion realm to do some challenges and stuff like that, and that's how they kind of write it into the game. But it loads, they hide loading so well, and the fast travel system, it zooms from the map to the city. There's no other way for me to describe it. It puts you there within seconds. It's insane. So again, I think they hide it pretty well. I think they start loading it when you hold down the fast travel button. But I have never seen an overworld game load so effortlessly, and still have a functioning FPS. And man, what else can I say? I'm excited for whatever follow-up games they do in the Marvel universe, because Wolverine is still planned. The last time they did, I talked to Dakuba about this yesterday, I think. The last time they did a mature game was Sunset Overdrive, which was a while ago. So I can't wait to see what they do with the Wolverine IP, because I feel like right now, Insomniac hasn't missed, since like Ratchet and Clank Deadlocked, which was a PS2 game. Like, they're doing so good. And this falls in the category of remember when games were fun. Do you remember when games were fun? Yeah, that's
No.
Spider-Man 2.
Games suck. Games have always been terrible and bad.
That's
And we
Spider-Man
hate all of
2.
them.
So if it hits PC and the port isn't all jacked up like PC ports have been a lot of the time, I will recommend either if you have a PS5 or when it comes to PC eventually, like pick up Spider-Man 2. And they do have a recap as well. Like if you're not like wanting to pick up, Spider-Man and Miles Morales, like you can just go to the second game and like they recap you with an actual cutscene that they didn't need to do. They could have done slides, but no, they're too extra. Yeah, I geeked out about Spider-Man 2 quite a bit, so that's basically what I've been up to and strongly recommend doing. What I have planned, when I feel up to it, I will gravitate back to Starfield content, especially, doing the magazine's guides, because that's what I keep trapping myself into doing. But as of right now, like this is still the easiest thing for me to do, which is just hanging out and BSing with Sarge for a couple hours, because it's almost effortless and easy to edit and all that kind of stuff, so it's nice and lightweight for me to do. Because when I get super serious into editing and then I have to like interrupt myself to like either take some meds or do whatever else, like that super messes up my flow. And I don't know if anybody else is this way. Like if anything wrong with you kind of interrupts with or anything health-wise going on with you kind of interrupts your workflow, you're like, why bother? That's kind of where I'm at right now. I do plan to still do stuff. It's just that my health, it blows right now.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate the people that are listening. Sarge, do you want to add anything, by the way?
Quack.
Quack, quack. Okay. Thank you for those of you who have listened all the way through the PIPCAST 3000. You should reply with a quack if you have, please.
Quack, quack.
Just to know, quack, quack. Just to know, like, which of you have made it to the end. And if you want any of the sources, those are linked down below. Look forward to hopefully in 2 weeks we do another PIPCAST 3000 if I'm feeling up to it and Sarge has awesome functioning internet to everything stars align, that will hopefully come back in 2 weeks every other Sunday 10 a.m. Pacific. Until then, thank you to my supporters. Thank you to Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose, and we hope to see you in the next PIPCAST 3000. Goodbye.
Quack, quack.